Welcome to The Other Dimension with the team, Damon Penny, Ben Winfield, and Louisa Brown. We guide you through the supernatural, the occult, and the unexplained, answering questions that will make you question your grip of reality, with special guests guiding you through everything from demons to divination, cryptids to crystals, religion to skeptics. We explore in depth the true meaning of the unexplained. So strap in, kick back, and enjoy as we enter the other dimension.
Hello everyone, and welcome to The Other Dimension. I am your host Kate today, and this is our guest Jeremy. Very, very, very happy to have Jeremy on the show. Thank you for coming, Jeremy. And this is the first ever episode of Got Stories to Tell, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please comment if you've got any questions or just want to say hi. Please comment below. So, we've already got Jan on. Hi, how are you doing?
She follows me everywhere.
Oh, that's amazing. You got a strong fan base, Jeremy, I think.
Very, very.
We've got Natasha. Natasha's a massive regular here on The Other Dimension. So hi, Natasha. And hi, Louisa.
I am also sharing this out to a whole bunch of different places.
Nice. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's your first show. We want to make it successful, don't we?
Thank you so much. That's so kind. So, Jeremy, I think we'll go right in. I'm going to start questioning you. I hope that's okay. If the questions get too intense, just tell me. Just be like, stop, Kate. It's too much.
Trust me, almost nothing phases me. So, yeah, we're good.
Awesome. I think I'll start with the writing part, because most people know you as a writer. You're very, very good at writing. I've actually read a few of Jeremy's work, and it's incredibly nice to read. Not so heavy going like some horror authors are known to be. Then I'm gonna
with the one I'm working on now.
Oh no. Are you getting heavier? Are you getting deeper into that style?
The one that I'm working on right now is called Gordon's Recovery. And
right.
It is very much a fictionalized telling of my real life accident that I had a couple of years ago.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to come on to that definitely, because we need to know about all of this stuff, because this is what makes Jeremy, I think. Definitely. Thank you so much, Jan. Really, really appreciate that. A little bit nervous, but I'm good.
No need to be nervous.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I want to ask you, what got you interested in writing in the first place?
But believe it or not, I started doing my first bit of writing when I was 13, but it had nothing to do with storytelling.
Right.
I was more or less a lyrical writer, so I was just writing lyrics for songs, and I've done that for many, many years before I even tried my hand at trying to write a story.
Oh wow, yeah, because you're very musical, aren't you? I know that you do a bit of singing. Do you play an instrument? No. Okay. What kind of lyrics were you writing for? Was it heavy rock?
Everything. Anything that I write, I'm more like with most singers that you see out there, they're always in a specific genre, and it's very rare that you have somebody crossing over like Taylor Swift did.
Yeah.
But for me, I like to write to all different kinds of things. So I've written stuff that is meant for hard rock. I've written stuff for soft rock. I've written stuff for country, heavy metal, rap.
Wow. Yeah. And have you ever had that put to music, or is that an ambition of yours?
One song.
One song.
I got one
Okay.
song. It was actually just released last year, less than a year ago.
Oh,
It's called The
wow.
Battle. And it was actually something that a buddy of mine, John Griffin, he and I were, he had his own side project for a documentary that he was making for his team called You and I Research. And he was making a documentary called Paranormal Puzzle. Um, and
Right.
he invited me to come along and be a part of this documentary and the ongoing series that he had been filming.
Oh,
And
wow.
we both had the idea of doing an original song because, as far as he and I both knew, there had never been a paranormal show that had an original song written specifically for that. So, what
Right.
I wanted to do was write something along the lines for his brother who died a couple years ago, and I wanted to write about the struggle that he was going through, and also the struggles that John went through, and the struggles that I went through. And in 20 minutes, I had a lyric all fleshed out.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
next thing I know, we got music to it. The person who wrote the music also recorded it, sang it, and turned it into a duet. And John put it out on YouTube, and I started promoting it. And next thing I know, hey, where's your version of it? And so I thought, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to sing my own version. So I did and put it out on YouTube, and quite a
That's
few people.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to share that on the page, definitely. That would be great. Hi,
So I can
Jacqueline.
actually say hi, Jacqueline. She's another member of things.
She
Um,
is.
yep.
And hi, Hugh.
And
How you doing?
I can actually
Oh,
say I have a song out in the world, which for many years I thought would never ever happen.
yeah. That's a massive achievement. That
It
really
is.
is.
It is. And
Definitely.
honestly, it would not have happened if it hadn't been for John.
That's great. And I feel like that the lyrics that you wrote, because you said they're from personal experience, it's real life things. With your writing, does that give you the drive? Is that how you process things, is to write them down and get them down on paper?
It does. And most people when they write stuff, they're always writing on the computer, type. For me, when it comes to doing the lyrics, it always has to be done by hand. I cannot do that with the keyboard. Now, with writing
Right.
stories, that does come with the keyboard. So for me, it's one or the other on both of them. Um, and and it's not just from my own personal experiences of writing lyrics. I also have the ability of putting myself into someone else's shoes and writing a lyric based on their experiences and write it in such a way as if they were writing it.
Right.
And,
I
and
see.
I've had a number of people come up to me and say, hey, you know what? This sounds like something that I went through. Well, it's because it was.
Yeah. That's incredible. And you've been through a lot, Jeremy. We're definitely going to cover how much you've been through personally, if you don't mind. Just going to catch up again with the comments. Pickle Nick is in the house. He says, glad to see your first show here. Thank you, Nick. It wouldn't be possible without you and Jeremy, so thank you. Jeanette Bean is here. Hi, nice to see you back. Was driving out to find Phil to investigate. Oh, that's a shame it's raining. Oh, sorry, Jeanette.
I
And
take it she's over
Adrian.
in the UK.
Yes, she is. Yep, quite near Ben and Lou, I think. And David. Hi, David.
That's my buddy from the UK. Uh,
Nice.
David and I have been friends for, oh, damn, how many years now, David? And the reason that we know, the reason that he and I know each other is actually through our favorite singer, Richard Marx. And
Oh,
he's the reason why I write stuff. And David, we have this fun thing where I call him Bad Fan all the time because he made some just a simple little mistake, just very tiny. And I thought I gotta razz him, so I wrote down Bad Fan, Huddy, Bad Fan.
Oh.
Next thing you know, he just took that name and ran with it.
Oh, that's so nice. Can I ask, what was the name of the singer again?
Richard Marx.
I have to say, lost on me. Is that a country singer? Is it?
He's considered a pop singer, but he started out rock.
Right.
His famous songs are "Right Here Waiting," "Hazard," "Should Have Known Better," "Endless
Okay.
Nights," "Now and Forever." Yeah, I can
Oh,
name the songs, but
I'll have
those are
to check him out.
to me he is the best there ever is.
Yeah. Okay. That's credible. I'm definitely going to go and check him out. When was he around? Like, was it the 80s or?
His best era was from 87 to about 93.
Okay.
But he just keeps on going because he continually reinvents himself. After his career started kind of winding down, so he decided to flip the switch and become a writer and producer for other artists, and did that predominantly for maybe about 10 years. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden, his own career just start coming right back up again, and it honestly has not stopped since.
Oh, that's good for him. Definitely. Oh, nice.
In
Bonnie,
fact,
hi.
I am actually going to be
Okay.
seeing him a week from tomorrow
Oh, where is he playing?
in Fort Wayne,
Okay. Is that which state?
Indiana.
Indiana. Nice. Okay. I'm still getting used to geography in the States. Nice.
So yeah, I'm actually going to be seeing him a week from tomorrow in concert. So now I haven't seen him in 4 years, so this is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of new music.
Yep. Nice. I guess David's not going because he's in the UK, right?
Yeah, he's in the UK, but Richard was over there last year, I think it was, David, and he went to go see him.
Oh,
David
nice.
actually runs a worldwide group page on Facebook for Richard Marx.
Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah, really a super fan. Even though he's a bad fan, he's still a super fan. Super bad fan.
Yeah, he really is. But the bad fan thing, it been a running joke for so many years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's get back to you, Jeremy. So so you said you started with lyrics, writing kind of poetry and that kind of side of it. Then you got into the writing. How did the writing come about? Why did you kind of progress onto that?
I was in my 20s, and by that point I had read a few Stephen King books and a number of different artists actually, and I thought, I kind of want to try my hand at it. And I actually had a story about a soldier coming back from the Vietnam War, and it was actually kind of a joke what I wanted to do because the name of the book was going to be called Smile. And it was something that was going to really piss off my mom because she was a collector of the yellow smiley faces back when it was big. And what I wanted to do was to have something that had the cover of a smiley face, but it was an evil grin with blood dripping down the side of it.
Oh my gosh.
But after I got about 40,000 words into this thing, I completely lost the story. I did not know where to go once I got to a climatic point to it. I knew how it was going to end, but once I got to about the middle of it, I did not know where to go from that point to the end.
Right.
But recently, I think I've got it figured out. But I haven't gotten back into it because I've been writing all of these other stories. So for
Sure.
about 10 years, I had actually stopped trying to write stories. I had started 3 different ones at the time and
Wow.
just couldn't get anywhere. So okay, lyric writing, that's what I do best. That's what I'll stick with. And then um, after I had my accident, I had nothing going on, and somebody actually said, you really need to write a book. So I
Hmm.
thought about it, and then in September of 22, I thought, this is it. I'm going to start writing, and I started writing on the memoir about the accident, and then
Hmm.
in November, I started writing out stories, short stories, and hadn't stopped since.
I have read a few of your short stories, and I have to say they are so good because they keep you interested and they're gripping and not overly, descriptive, not like Game of Thrones style. I couldn't stick with any of very, very descriptive, heavy writing. It's just a bit too much.
I've heard he is a hard writer to get into.
Oh, so difficult. Yeah, personally speaking, I mean, people love him, that's fine, but just personally speaking, it was a bit too heavy for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but may I ask you about this accident that you had, because it had such a huge impact on your life and your creativity.
It
Could we
changed.
ask about it? Yeah.
It changed everything. So I'll try to describe what happened without really getting into the gory parts because, to be
Sure.
perfectly honest, the entire incident was nothing but gore. Um,
Oh,
so I worked in an ice cream factory. Um,
okay.
are you familiar with the drumsticks, the ice cream cones, and the ball top, and the peanuts
Yeah.
that are on it? So that's the factory that I live in. We made those, and the department that I work in is the material handling department. So I was driving a forklift, delivering materials to all the different lines that makes these things. And
Okay.
part, part of our job is making sure that the peanut room is staying up and running. And the peanut room is basically the thing where we have 2,000 pound bags of peanuts come in, and
Right.
we attach them to a tank that shoots the peanuts off and go to the line so that they can get sprinkled, well, not sprinkled onto the ball top. And this tank holds roughly 800 pounds of peanuts at a time,
Oh my
and
goodness.
it is sitting right in front of you, and then the 2,000 pound bag is on top of it, and you got this little access valve,
Yeah.
so that it drops so many pounds of peanuts, and then it shuts off, and then the tank will empty down, and then it'll drop some more down and shuts itself off. So it was getting to the point where the bag is almost empty. So once it's empty, you take it down, you put a new one up, and the whole process takes about 20-25 minutes. I went in there, um, and it was just getting ready to empty out. So there's a little button that you can push to force the rest of it down when the tank is empty enough to receive peanuts, but it hasn't
Okay.
gotten past the sensor.
Right.
So I did that. Everything dropped down, um, and once everything shuts back up, now you can take the peanut bag down, disconnect it from that chute, take it down, bring in a new one, and put it up there. Well, at the top of this tank, there is a little sight glass that you can look into to see how full or empty it is. And the
Okay.
clamp around that sight glass failed, and
Right.
it's about that big around, that thick, and it
Right.
came up and hit me right in the face. It
Oh my
blew
gosh.
off. It blew off the tank.
So it was a fault with the machine then that it did that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the pain.
I can't even imagine. I went through it.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
Jeremy.
and the damage that it did was so severe that the operating doctor told me that if that sight glass had been in 1 inch in any direction, it would have been fatal. How it
No.
wasn't fatal to begin with, he doesn't know.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
Nick has heard all the details. So,
I'm so
so what
sorry,
it
Jeremy.
did, I know you can't really see it on here, but there is a scar that starts right here, and it comes down zigzagging here across the nose and goes all the way up to about here, and
Oh man.
that's where it split everything open. Um, it destroyed my nose. This part right here was crinkled like an accordion and shifted over to the side, and my my joint, the TMJ, was broke, so
Oh my
I couldn't use
God.
my jaw. Yeah, it was bad. Um,
Yeah. I'm
and
so sorry, Jeremy.
about a year later, I saw a picture of what I looked like right when they were taking me into the operating room. So I saw the condition that I was in. This whole side was all swollen up. My eye was swollen shut, so I couldn't see out of it for 10 days. And then once I was able to see out of that eye, I had noticed that the eyeball itself had shifted and everything was coming in at an angle. So
Right.
so my right eye I was looking like this, the left eye was like this.
Oh man.
Um, but that has since been corrected for the most part.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was the scariest time of my life. I'll say that.
Yes.
It was
Absolutely.
it was very scary. Um, I did not know what was going to happen from this point on. It
Mm.
even after the surgery that night, it was still touch and go for a while. And 3 days
Wow.
later, I had surgery again, where the doctor put my face back together, because all they did that night was just sew everything up just to stop the bleeding. So when I clenched my teeth in between those 3 days, I could actually feel everything moving, including up here.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, Jeremy. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I just really hope that things are going better now for you, that they've managed to correct things.
Things are a lot better. There's still a few things that need to be fixed, like the surgery that I'm having on Monday. Um, but here's the thing: if I did not have this accident, I would still be working with that company.
Yeah.
Technically, I'm still employed with them.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
still getting insurance. But if that accident had not happened, I would still be working over there and not home, and probably you would not have been able to read a single word that you read,
Mm,
because my job is so mentally exhausted
yeah.
that by the time I get home, I don't feel like doing anything.
No. No. I mean that was physical work, wasn't it? As well
Yeah,
as mental, like to go through all of that. And
it's
it wasn't safe. I mean, how can you work in those conditions where machinery like that is not safe?
right.
That's awful.
Well, it was safe at first, but the plant's been going through a huge expansion that was slated to be going on for 3 years. Far as I know, they're still working on it. I haven't been by there anytime lately, uh,
Right.
but they were going through. It was supposed to be a 3 year expansion where the building was practically going to be double and almost triple the size. In fact,
Wow.
they had recently bought the property right next door
Right.
where they was going to do the expansion, and the company that came in and moved the peanut machine to a different area. And ever since they moved it, I have been telling people this thing is not sturdy like it used to be.
Mm,
We had nothing but problems with it from that point on, up until it ultimately blew up in my face.
that's awful. Oh my gosh, Jeremy. How did you get through that?
It wasn't easy. Luckily, I had a huge, huge support system. Uh,
Good.
I had my dad, I had my sisters. They drove me everywhere up until it was time for until I was able to drive again. I had a bunch of friends nearby that made sure I was okay, and then I had a lot of people online that helped me out. Nick, Adrian,
That's so
all of them
lovely.
guys. Yeah, huge, huge support system, and um, and like what Jacqueline had said, kept the network going at the same
Yeah.
time. That was because Adrian and Crystal immediately jumped in, made sure that the network was running fine because they knew it was going to be a good while before I could do anything. And yeah, I had just started it. The network had been running a month and a half
Right.
when it happened. That's right. Yeah, I had just started it. Um, and I was in the hospital almost for 3 weeks before I came home, and that's where the real healing started coming in. Because once I got home, all of a sudden I started feeling better about things because I was home,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for everybody, that's where you feel your safest.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the amount of post-traumatic stress that must come from that as well. I don't think you should be working near those machines ever again, to be honest. I mean,
Well, a lot of people have told me that I should never have to go back to work ever.
no, no.
Um, but I'm being realistic about it. It's to me it's just a matter of time before they're gonna try to push me back in there. So
Sure.
that's why I'm doing all these writings, writing books, writing stories, to and trying to find an agent.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I mean, it would be amazing if you could become an established author, and do that as a living, as opposed to going back to somewhere that brings back extremely painful memories and a whole life experience that nobody should have to go through, really, because that is just a
right,
traumatic accident and that should never have happened.
it
Um,
should never have happened. But had it never happened, I would not have
sure,
the opportunity to do what I'm doing now.
sure, true,
It's that catch-22 situation. I needed that to happen in order for me to refocus on my priorities.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about Things Network, because you were talking a lot about the network and you kept the network going. Could you just explain to people that don't know what Things Network is? Could you just describe that? Because you are the founder, are you not?
Yeah. Well, not the only founder, but I am the owner of it. Uh,
Hmm,
there,
right,
there there was a number of us that started it up. Crystal, Tim, Adrian. There were several of us that started putting in the work to do this thing. But ultimately, if you're talking about, like Top Guy or ownership, I own the Things Network.
right, right.
Um, so you could argue that the final say thing, but I don't like doing that unless it's necessary.
Sure,
I lean on the staff, which is Nick, Adrian, Eileen. They're on the staff. Scott Smith. We are the staff for the network. It's
sure,
not
sure,
just I make every decision. That's not going to happen. They help me make the decision.
sure. It's a collective group, isn't it? And how would you describe, like, what does Things do? What is it?
Well, Things is different from the Things Network. The Things Network is just basically a paranormal podcast channel.
Nice. Okay.
That's really all it is. It's not. Um, it's not. It says network, but then again, every other network out there have network in the name, but it's not like a TV network or anything like that. You're not going to see us on Amazon Prime. We're just on Facebook. We're just on YouTube. Just
Sure.
a social media thing, really. That's really all it is when you get down to the dirty of it. But it's something that we have been building, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. We're expanding worldwide. We
Yeah.
are in the process of getting our second Asian show. We have several shows from UK, like Jacqueline. She was one of the very first to have a show on the network. She is a Things Network original, I guess if you want to call it that, like so many others do. So Jacqueline
That's
would be,
amazing.
yeah. Now Things, that is the paranormal investigations team.
Right.
That's where we do the serious work. Um, the
Hmm.
the podcast thing, for better or worse, is something that we do for fun. It's something that we enjoy doing. We enjoy talking with other people, meeting other people, and trying to get some exposure for them. Much like in the case last night, the show that I had with the gals from the other side. Um,
Oh, yes.
for the Chris, it was her. I think she said it was her second ever podcast she's done, and for Haley, it was the first ever she has done. She had never appeared on camera for a podcast, and they wanted to promote the show that they're putting out on Amazon Prime. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I have to say, when you look at the Things Network, it is incredible how many shows and interesting shows that you have. I mean, you range from the paranormal, you look at even ufology, you like UFOs, all that kind of stuff. Every sort of paranormal, supernatural, extraterrestrial, like it's all covered. Or even if you just want to have a chat with interesting people, different people, I think you've got like, is it 4 shows a day at, some days, like every day there's something going on. The schedule is very, very vast, and all the countries and all the states, you've got things, Illinois, haven't you? You've got things where you are in India, like there's all the states are involved. It's honestly incredible, Jeremy, like what you and your team have done with Things Network.
it really is, and so much of the credit, honestly, goes to everybody on the team because it's not just one person behind it. I may have started things, I created it, but it's
Yeah,
because of everybody else that helped make it expand.
yeah,
And
sure.
that's what teams need.
That's what Jacqueline said perfectly. It brings together people from all over the works and
And
the world, and it's,
and we don't just cover the paranormal spectrum. We got
yeah.
some shows that talk about serial killers. Um, we
Oh,
we also
yes.
have a show on Monday morning that is for veteran mental health.
Yeah.
It's we just try to cover everything because honestly, if you talk only about the paranormal, you're gonna get bored
Hmm.
with it after a while.
Yeah.
So you want a little bit of variety, and that's what I want for this channel. And just a few weeks ago, we got our very first paranormal game show.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
It,
Oh,
it, it,
that's
comes, it comes
amazing.
on right after Supernatural Talk.
Nice. Nice. Oh, that's really interesting. So basically, if you haven't checked out Things Network, you have to find them on Facebook. You have to add them. They have so many shows. I also think that the mental health one is so important nowadays because, a lot of people are struggling. I think also paranormal and mental health, they are quite strongly connected as well because people don't understand a lot of things that are going on. And yeah, just it's incredible, honestly. can I ask, where did the idea for this come from? Because I know that you said, yes, it's a group of you, but you did kind of create it, right, in the beginning. So where did that come from?
I created Thames Network, but I'm not the one who had the original idea.
Right.
The guilty party for that one is Jan.
Okay. Nice.
Now, it's I can go into a very long descriptive story of how it came to be, but the short of it was that we as a team, and this is before we had Illinois, Colorado, the state chapters. It was just things.
Yeah.
We were a part of another podcast network, which is how I got my start in the podcast world with 13th Dimension.
Yeah.
And there's some bad things going on with the ownership of that, which it was said that I was an owner, but
Right.
I wasn't really, because it was all, well, this is my network. I decide what we're going to do. I don't care what any of you guys say. Pretty much like that. And then some other shady stuff that was going on. We decided to split away from them and create Things Network. And I never imagined that. We started with 20 some shows.
Right.
We start and we only had 1 month from the time that we announced, okay, this is what we're going to do, to the time that we actually launched. And
Wow.
so many shows came in, say, hey, we want to be a part of this. And I thought, okay, people trust us to, broadcast them, to promote them. And just, you don't want to fail them.
No, sure.
And yeah, some shows have left, but the shows that we have been just wonderful.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I know that you talk a lot about unity, don't you? Keeping things without drama, like Tom's just said. Yeah.
That's something that people find out about me real quick, is that I detest drama. I loathe it. If you're going to bring drama into my little circle, guess what? You're going to find yourself outside the circle real quick if you don't figure out your problems.
Yeah, good.
Because I don't want it brought in here, because we don't need it. We shouldn't have to deal with drama.
Yes. Yeah.
If I want drama, I'm going to pop in a DVD and watch it, and then laugh.
Watch a soap opera. Yeah.
But the word pure unity, I completely believe in the ideals of it, but I get it where a lot of people are saying that bad unity, that pure unity has a bad rep to it. And to some extent it does, because of people that repeatedly misuse the term.
Yeah.
But it's really the ideals behind pure unity that you want to focus on. Rather if you call it pure unity, para family, I don't care what you call it. It's the principles behind it that you want to focus on.
I agree. Yeah. And drama isn't one of them.
No.
Definitely. Oh, that's amazing, Jeremy. May I ask you a bit more about your paranormal side? Because you are a paranormal investigator, aren't you?
I am. And that was really the whole start of things, because I saw this as a way of being able to help people in a much different way, because everybody needs help in some way. But unfortunately, the people that say they need help don't really need help, because it's like a lot of times with the people that are standing in the corners with the sign, hey, need help, appreciate whatever. And you see those same people there week after week after week after week for several years. It's almost like they have a work schedule where they stand at that corner. And around here, it seems like that they have a rotation of 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
And it's always the same corners. And there have been times where there was one guy, he was actually caught on film. He was in a wheelchair, and all of a sudden, he gets up, folds the wheelchair up, and then goes into what appeared to be a very expensive car and drove off.
What?
Yeah, that was actually featured on the news here in town years ago.
What?
Hmm.
That's so
So,
bizarre.
right. So I just focus on helping people
Yeah.
who feel like they're going through something in their home and they can't figure it out. That's where we come in. We come in, and we're not just automatically going to say, "Oh, you got knocks on the wall? Yeah, you got a demon." We're not going to do that. We're going to figure out what's going on. We're going to be checking everything, um, checking the electric, checking your gas, anything
Sure.
that could cause the noises, anything that could be causing the smells that you're getting, or seeing if there's something that's leaking into the house that you can't tell, like carbon monoxide or something like that. And stuff
Yeah.
like that can cause you to hallucinate, not visually, but also auditorily.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. So you're very much a skeptic until there's stuff that you really can't explain, and then you would label that as paranormal. Because I kind of want to know what's in Jeremy's brain. What's your belief?
I wouldn't even necessarily label it as paranormal. I'll just call it as yeah, you guys. Um, I would call it as something that I can't explain. I don't want to
Right.
say it is paranormal because I may not be able to explain it, but somebody else might be able to, or maybe
Right.
you might be able to.
So what is your view on ghosts and spirits? Are you a believer?
I'm a believer.
Hmm.
I have seen some stuff. I've heard stuff. I've smelled stuff that should not be. I've felt stuff. It's I've seen some stuff.
Could
Uh,
you tell us about one of the most significant things that has happened that you thought, okay, yeah, there is definitely something.
well, there was a time, actually, when it was me and Nick, a few people, we were at a Masonic temple in Kansas.
Oh,
Big place. Think of it. It's 160,000 square feet in a box.
oh my
8 floors
goodness.
total. Um,
Wow.
Something on that top floor was playing peekaboo with me and Nick and the other people.
So you could see something?
We couldn't see it. We were hearing something.
Right.
And it was almost like it was running us in a circle in a goose
That's so
chase.
weird.
Um,
Yeah.
there was another time, and I was actually talking about this last night with the ladies from the show after the show when I went to Waverly Hills a few years ago. Um, the what they call the death tunnel, the body chute.
Right. Because that was a mental asylum, was it? Or
It was a
Waverly Hills?
tuberculosis hospital.
Oh, okay. Right.
And after it was a tuberculosis hospital, it was also more or less like an old folks home. It was like a geriatrics home.
Right. I see.
And that is actually where I think that most of the problems is coming from that period of time instead of the actual tuberculosis thing.
Oh,
But Waverly is known for the tuberculosis, so they focus on that aspect. Um,
right.
but I was in that tunnel, and with this tunnel, I can easily spend an hour and a half in there by
Mm.
myself.
Mm.
One time I went in there, and it just had a different feeling to it. I
Right.
kept feeling like something was going to charge at me, and
Oh,
I ended up leaving after 15 minutes. I couldn't stay there anymore. It was just that feeling that I should not be here.
yeah.
It does not want me here.
Yeah. Yeah. May I ask, when you were feeling that in that situation, do you feel like there is an intelligent spirit there, or do you think it's sort of like a stone tape theory? What is your theory on that with ghosts?
I don't really know. I can't say that it was just one thing there that didn't want me there. It was almost like maybe there was a bunch of them there, and they were saying, "Get out." Because usually, if you
Right.
just have one person there saying, "Hey, get out, get out, get out," it's not going to phase you. But if you have 10 people in front of you saying, "Get out," maybe you should get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's like that oppressive feeling that
yeah.
you should leave. Hmm. That's interesting. And then the noise you heard in that other place, or you said it was playing peekaboo, what kind of noise was it? Like, how did you know it was paranormal and not maybe somebody in the building or a rat or something like that?
Nick, can you help me out with that one? Because I really don't
No
know.
worries.
Um, it
Or was it a feeling, maybe a feeling that you weren't alone?
well for me, I didn't have that. I didn't have that kind of an anxiety type feeling like I did at Waverly, but
Yeah.
it was like almost like a cat and mouse game. Like, oh, let's go over there, and then
Right.
it was almost like it was taunting us.
Yeah. Yeah. Like playing a game.
Yeah, that's really the best way that I can describe it. Uh, Nick might be able to describe it better. It it was just really weird.
Yeah.
But he caught that on video. He,
Oh,
he was
that's
he was
interesting.
actually live on his page when that was happening.
Where is that at, Jeremy? Chris
The,
asks.
the Masonic Temple in Salina, Kansas.
Hmm. Yeah, that must be quite a strange feeling just even being in there. Um,
Oh man, that place is so beautiful. Uh,
mm,
it is. It was not like how a lot of other places are, where it's run down and everything. They still have businesses there operating out of there.
oh,
It's
okay.
just that the Freemasons don't operate there anymore. They went to a different building in the city,
Right.
and now they're, I don't know if they're leasing space to other businesses, but there are people there. It's not an abandoned building.
Mm,
They use it for wedding ceremonies, graduations, things like that.
yeah, yeah. Nick says was a bizarre feeling, but probably one of the best investigations.
Yes,
Interesting. Yeah.
yes. It is definitely one of my personal favorites to go to.
What's your actual theory, though, on ghosts and spirits? Like, do you think that there is an afterlife, or do you think it's just memories, or maybe is it extraterrestrial? Like, if somebody all out just asked you about what you believe the paranormal to be, what would you say?
I can't really say definitively one way or the
Mm, sure,
other
because no
because
one knows.
there are so many theories, and a lot of these theories make sense.
Yeah.
Um, and it could be any of them. Do I think that there's a possibility of an afterlife? Absolutely.
Mm,
I am the kind who is more of, if you can think it, it's possible.
yeah.
Um, there were some people who believe, with time being a man-made construct, that all of time is happening at the same time,
Yes.
and somehow we're kind of bleeding into that other reality, if that
Sure.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's true. Maybe a bit of different dimensions, everything happening all at once. Time is very relative, isn't it?
And I do believe in other dimensions, multiple alternate realities, because I know somewhere there is another me out there that is the Stephen King of the
Your dream. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but I don't subscribe to just any one theory, because I don't I don't want to take that chance of being absolutely right about something
Yeah.
that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, of course, of course. There was something I read the other day which kind of blew my mind a little bit, but it was somebody was describing a pregnancy. So when you're just a tiny baby in your mum, and you're there, and maybe you're about to be birthed, right? The baby must be kind of isn't aware of its existence. It's not even breathing, right? Because you don't even use your lungs then when you're a baby. You're just growing, you're developing. And then that trauma of, being birthed, you think you're going to die. The baby, it doesn't know it's going to be born, he or she. They just think that they're going to die. It's all like an internal survival thing, isn't it?
That's basically because you are being removed from an environment that is all
Yes.
you know, and put in somewhere else that is completely alien to you.
Exactly. But isn't that very similar to death? There was a good point made that we are also scared of going through death and passing through and going into somewhere that we have no idea exists, or even if it does exist, because a baby doesn't know that. So it's kind of a rebirth again. That's why they talk about rebirth and thing. And I was like, that's quite interesting, actually. Quite an interesting theory.
It makes sense, because in a way, if you really think about it, we are still the baby, and there's a reason why they call it Mother Earth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Earth is essentially one big womb.
Yes. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
So it makes absolute sense. And plus, if you're able to break through that barrier, like 20 or 30 people have done, it's easy getting out and
Yeah.
getting out into that vacuum of space, but getting back then is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Can never
If you're,
happen.
if you're literally going through fire getting back in here.
Yeah. 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 Oh, Chris has put something good. Vibrations and frequencies. Yeah. That's true. Every single thing has a vibration and a frequency. Very interesting. But yeah, I feel like we should do a show on theories. Get a group of us together and maybe talk about all these different types of theories. Isn't that the truth? Very true, Nick. Can
Isn't
I
it
ask?
the truth, Nick?
Can I ask you, Jeremy? You spoke about Stephen King. You are, honestly, you're the only person I know that is a super mastermind regarding Stephen King. Like, everything about him, all of his books.
I don't know. I don't know if I would call myself that.
I think you are 100%. Like, why Stephen King? Just curiosity.
He has a way of literally bringing you into the story and making you feel like you're a part of the story.
Yeah.
He writes in such a way. Well, actually, in the book that he wrote called On Writing, he says that when you're writing, write the truth. And it's curious that the way that he said that, because I kept thinking about it. Okay, he says write the truth, but you're writing fiction.
Yeah.
But when you write in fiction, you want to write it in such a way that it could be the real thing.
I mean,
that'll never happen.
I've got my fingers crossed that maybe that will happen one day. I have to say, like, Stephen King, he is so good at looking through other people's minds and eyes. Because I've spoken about this a lot with you, Jeremy, but Rose Madder, when I read Rose Madder, and he sees through the eyes of this woman, it's just like, how is this a man writing as a woman? And it's so deep and so intricate.
Was heart-wrenching.
Yeah. And I'm like, how does he do that? That is...
Keep in mind, Stephen King is married. So, and when he was writing Carrie, he leaned on her about the female side of everything, about female dialogue and all of that. She helped him out big time. You could almost consider Carrie as not written by Stephen King, but co-written by Stephen and Tabitha King.
Right. I see.
Because she helped him out so much with the female dialogue, and plus she was just a handful of years away from high school, so everything was still fresh in her mind. So she was able to let him know, and plus he drew on his own experiences with some of the girls that he went to school with in high school, what they went through, and he was able to put that down on paper.
It's incredible. It really is. Do you feel like there is a lot of influence in your work because of Stephen King? Do you? Yeah. Yeah,
because if you look at some of the stuff that I write about, it's not. I don't want to say direct in what's going on. It's like, okay, we're going through this, but at the same time, this is also going in our head. That is helping put what you're going through now into perspective.
Right. Yes. It's an amazing skill. I'm not sure if I could do that. But it's like I've said, like, your writing is really, really clever, really, really well written. Could you just tell us your genre of writing?
I tend to stick in more the horror genre because that's nice. What I know best. But that's not all I'm going to be writing about. I do write about supernatural stuff, but I also write about the very real, scary stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's one story that I wrote that is called Silent Scream, and it's basically from the perspective of an old man who now lived in a nursing home. And it's one of those cases where he's basically gonna live out the rest of his life there. And his family is coming to visit him for Christmas about a week or so before Christmas. And all he wants to do is leave and go back home with them. But he knows that that's not possible.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. But it needs to be written because people, need to see it from their perspective as well. Because you don't really think about that, do you? How it must feel and what they're going through.
And then there's another one that I wrote that is called Jey, which is actually my initials. And I use that because that was the name of one of my dogs. His name was Jey.
Oh.
And there's always stories about how what people go through when they have to put their dog down or put their cat down.
Oh,
they have to have them euthanized, but nobody ever thinks about what is it like for the animal.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So I wrote the short story from the dog's perspective, from the time that he wakes up in the cage at the vet.
Right.
And he's thinking about, okay, why am I here? There was a mailman, thinking about the mailman that came to deliver mail, and he went and bites him because it was the different mailman that he was used to. It was somebody filling in for this guy, but he doesn't understand that. And when he stepped into the porch and made what the dog thought was a move at one of the young children, you don't mess with my family.
Yeah.
And so he went after him. and now he's in the vet, and just thinking about these things, and you actually go through the process of him getting those shots to the last words that go through his mind.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. How
I
do
did not
you?
give that to you for the purpose because I don't know if you'd be able to handle that.
Yeah, my dad's watching, and our family dog Jenna, she had to be euthanized at the end because she lost all feeling in her back legs. Just her legs went just due to old age. But she was euthanized at home in our sitting room, and that was the best that we could offer her. But to read a dog being sort of euthanized at a vet, that would be heartbreaking. Yeah, I don't think I could cope with that. Yeah.
It was, and the reason that I write these things is I want to give the reader different perspectives to read from, because most of the times it always from the perspective of the person going through this, going through that, but you almost never find something from a secondary character or the perspective of an animal.
Yeah, it's
And
important to know.
and the stories that I write also, every one of them has some sort of a social message embedded into it. And one
Yeah,
of those things, for at least for Jay, is okay, it's heartbreaking to me that I have to put my dog down, but what is he going through?
yeah, that's so
And
important, isn't
yeah,
it? It
so
really is.
that's what I try to do, because I don't want to write a story for the sake of writing a story.
No,
I Yeah.
there's a lot of feeling in your stories, Jeremy. A lot of feeling, a lot of depth, a lot of thought, food for thought. I think is it's incredible. So I have to say, first of all, I really, really hope that you are able to achieve that dream of being an author. We all support you here, and I would love to see your books eventually get published once they're all done and ready to go. Your short stories, your books. You're writing a book about your accident, you said.
Two of them. One is the non-fictional, so that goes everything what I'm really going through and everything beyond that. But
Yeah,
The one with Gordon's story is that, yeah, it's very much based on what I went through, and every feeling that I went through is in this book. But there is a supernatural element to it where you have your typical angel and devil on your shoulders,
right.
and
Wow.
that is this one. And the devil in this story was created from the hatred and the bad feelings that the main character had after he had the accident.
Mm,
And there was so much hate in him that he mentally blocked it from everything. And when he did that, he literally created his dark half.
oh, wow.
And it was so powerful that this dark half can now do things in the physical world. And
That's really interesting.
now I am getting ready to bring in the angel side of him, because he just now went through a surgery that changed a lot of things for him for the better,
Yeah.
and all of that feeling good create another half of him, or third, I guess now you could say, and he would be able to do stuff in the physical world.
That's
Uh,
super interesting. It's such a good concept because I know that in a lot of Japan, Japan supernatural stuff, when they talk about a grudge and it can take on a dark form and it can, do things in the physical world. Like it sounds
yeah.
very, very familiar to that because it does come from a person. It comes from a bad experience,
But
negative energy.
here's the interesting thing: the dark part of him looks exactly as he did when he had the accident, but before he had that surgery to close everything up. So there,
Right.
So there is a lot of description of, oh man, the blood, the bone that I put into this story. I want you to see what he looked like, or what I
Yeah.
look like. And then the angel part of him is going to be, this is what he looked like before the accident. The good guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so amazing, Joe. Like, I can't wait till it's finished. Chris said it should be a series of books. It totally could be. You could have your own
This
series.
one isn't going to be a series. This is going to be just a single book. But I'm hoping to be able to tie it into a series that I am planning on. That is going to be similar to what Stephen King does with The Dark Tower, and ties it in with nearly every single book of his.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of work and brain power. It's amazing.
I know.
Well, we've all got our fingers crossed for you, Jeremy. We hope to see a lot more of your work being available and coming out, even being published at some point. Thank you so much for talking about your accident. It
Thank you for having me.
can't be easy, but we really appreciate that. And I'm so happy. You wouldn't know. I mean, they've done incredible work, and you have an operation on Monday, I know. So I just want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
For Monday. Let us know how you get on, definitely. And yeah, thank you so much for being on The Other Dimension. I know that you have your own show called The 13th Dimension, and now we've got The Other Dimension. We're just creating a vortex, I don't know, of dimensions.
Well, think of it this way: you get the 13th dimension first, and then the other guys, they're the next day. The other dimension, the next day.
Something like that. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. So yes, we definitely have to do this again, Jeremy, at some point. I'd like to delve more into the paranormal side and know how you're getting on with your books as well and your writing. We can come back to it. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for commenting, for watching. Thank you if you're watching this back. And I will see you soon, definitely, for the next Got Stories to Tell. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
And
Lou. Really good.
Thank you.
Just thought we'd jump on quick at the end to say we really
awesome.
enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Ben and Lou.
It's been a really good show, and we know you're going to do great on all your others.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Oh gosh, there's so many comments. That's so nice. Thank you, Jeremy. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to end it now. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you soon.
Bye, guys.